I am Alex Martin Musiime. I am a lawyer by training, a human rights activist by choice, and I'm a Ugandan. I'm happy to host this show on behalf of the Center for Constitutional Governance, our hosts. Today's discussion is largely on digital rights in this country in general. We're going to have a discussion on these rights, their impact on people, mainly grassroots people of Eastern Uganda. And on this show, I'm joined by a list of panelists whom I'll request to introduce themselves so that we commence. I'll begin with Sania.
My name is Nagudi, the Procurement Support Officer of Byeffe Food Company.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sania. Let's go to Ibrahim.
Ibrahim Magomu, a social analyst, a human rights defendant who has been in this field for about now 8 years. A 2-award winner with the DGF and USAID on fighting against corruption in the justice sector, and a full-time media panelist across the Bugisu sub-region, as well as the ED, Nourish a Child Ministries. I'm happy to be part of this yet another interesting dialogue, a civic space. But Martin and the rest, first allow me to congratulate the new academician who has existed, whom her work has inspired me a lot, and that is Dr. Sarah Birete. Upon her new milestone, upon her new journey, of yesterday, realized that she is now a doctor. Congratulations to her, to Sarah Birete and CCG as a family. Thanks.
Yes. Thumbs up for Sarah Birete, now doctor, for her achievements in these, and mainly, I think that comes as a recognition of her work in this space of the constitutional development of this country. We congratulate her. We ask Madrin to extend our sincere congratulatory message to dear Sarah Birete. Now, to kick off this discussion, I am going to ask each one of you to, and let me begin with you, Magomu. What do you understand by this concept or the term digital rights? What is your making of digital rights?
Yeah, just like the chapter 4 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which among other things speaks about the rights of the citizens, and where the component of the concept of social media can be derived from the concept of expression, media expression, essentially something like that is derived from. To me, the concept of digital rights resonates around the human rights and legal rights that allow an individual, of course, to access, create, and publish media, or to access and use computers, the electronic device, and telecommunication networks. Just as of now, we are using the lively example is that we are using digital rights to ensure that we amplify on our work. We blow the trumpet on what is going on around the globe. So in summary, that is how digital rights comes in, and that is a clear and simplified way of explaining digital rights, which of course begins.
Thank you very much, Mr. Magomu. And as you were giving your definition or your interpretation of what digital rights are, we've been joined by another panelist, whom I'll ask to introduce herself before we proceed to Nagudi Sania's interpretation of digital rights. Madam, please introduce yourself.
My name's Mutama Mudua. I am a women activist working with the Mbale Women Concern Network as an administrative assistant, and I'm glad, and I'm an activist. So that is it. Hope to hear more from me as we proceed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Betty. Nagudi Sania, please tell us what you think of digital rights. You know, what is your perception of the digital rights, particularly in this country?
Good morning, guys, once again. I was coming around where I am. I don't have almost where I can I think the rights that would demand being in regards to error. Like what rights we have when we are when we are dealing with the internet, when we are dealing with the media.
Yes, thank you very much. Requesting that you maybe change your background so that we're able to see clearly when you put your video on. The sky, the background was the sky, and it affected the lighting. So if you could change the background, but also the audio, so that we have a very fruitful discussion. Betty, I'll come to you and for what your interpretation of digital rights is. What do you think of this phenomenon called digital rights?
Yeah, thank you, moderator. As to, in regards to the digital rights, yeah, to my understanding, I do understand as these are the powers being authorized or given onto the citizens in regards to communication, and they can either be positive or cause a negative impact to the community or the society or to one's health. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Now let us discussion by interrogating, I think everyone can hear me, by interrogating what, you know, first, what is the legal regime that that governs digital spaces in this country. And this and this information that Center for Constitutional Governance has. Our constitution, like Ibrahim said, is gives among the freedoms, it gives people freedoms of free speech, expression, communication. That is in Article 29, and allows people to freely speak or disseminate information with the use of media that is available to them, any media that they have, and that word media is interpreted progressively. Maybe the media that we had in 1995 when the Constitution was being made is less than the media we have now, So it is used progressively to mean various media, and that can change over time. We did not have social media. We had radios then and newspapers, and perhaps that was the form. But because the people who formed our constitution were progressive, they used the word and other media to cater for those yet to come. Now, that takes me to the question: how do you see the current landscape or the current status of digital rights in this country? Do we have is the current media guaranteeing people's digital rights? And digital rights, by digital rights I mean your right to information, right to express yourself, right to use media. So according to the way Uganda is now, do we really have the kind of spaces that give full meaning to these digital rights in your view? Let's begin with Nagudi Sania. Let's begin with Nagudi Sania.
Once again, as for now, according to the current situation in Uganda, I don't think we have media rights. Like, we have all those rights that you can post whatever you want. You have access to all the information that you want. A case in mind is that sometimes when you write something on media, like the security follows you up. So like, you really have to be very careful with what you send on media, what you send on your social accounts. So basically, I don't think we have the right in Uganda.
Okay, what do you think, Betty?
Yeah, when I draw back to write the questions, how do you see the current status of the digital rights? Yeah, as in Uganda, the way I see it, that much as we have the rights entrusted onto us as Ugandans to use the media, I see it in the negative perspective way, that using the social media, given it we have been given the right to use it, that there is still entrusted to people to use it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Betty.
And cite an example. This just back to the word. Yes, I was saying it gives limited access to political grounds. You see, for instance, there are some politicians who keep on accounts are being blocked by the government authorities, and that now doesn't really give the people free expression of their rights. And it also makes people not to really feel they are not citizens. So that is really infringes on the rights of the citizen. And maybe on the other way, on the positive side of it, you find that it leads to simplification of the documentation and evidence, in that when someone posts a bad act on the platform, on the social media, it will be able to be perceived very fast, because it will be already captured. So you find that, yeah, that one, there is always clear evidence to show that such and at such and such a time, Betty or Daniel posted such an act which was not good. Whereas it also simplifies the communication, but it also have some other impacts that it goes to the effects that it goes to us as the citizens of Uganda and the community at large. Besides that, you see that digital rights also speeds up business communications. And on the other way around, it makes the country small, because right now I am reporting from Kampala. I am in some other training. So you find that it is very small, that I am right here in Kampala.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'm at Wachi to be, so I would be reporting. So it's opposite to the person on the grassroots to be also. That makes the world very small, that you can do anything you want within a minute. Thank you. I submit.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Nagudi, indeed, you can be, at different places, at the same time because of media. As we were discussing, we were joined by His Worship Wachi, whom I'll ask to introduce himself. All right, as he gets to introduce, as he sorts out the network, I'm going back to you, Magomu Ibrahim, to tell me about what is the landscape of media in Uganda, in your view? Do you think we are fully reaching full utilization of digital rights? Do you think we are somewhere where it is desirable to say we really have digital rights in this country?
Mr. Musiime and my other senior comrades, thank you for once again giving me this platform to able explain the conceptualization and the contextualization of the digital landscape in Uganda. But before that, allow me tell you or give my opinion to the team on how far, and why is it that the digital rights is so important, and why is it being mentioned now than before. When you read the Uganda's Vision 2040, comrades, it provides a developmental path and strategies to operationalize Uganda's statement, which is a transformed Ugandan society from a peasant and a modern and prosperous country within 30 years to come. Of course, this vision was operationalized way back. If I think we are in the 8th year or 9th year of it, and it identified the key bottlenecks for us and impediments for us, which had curtailed the country over the previous years, and now which the country was to usher in, so that the concept of this vision is being realized. And the issue was about ICT. ICT. Now, how the country had prepared itself, how could it now move away from the traditional perspective to now compete globally? And you know, when you are competing globally, my comrades, right now you are competing in technology. You are not competing in Mbale. You're going to Central Market with your cabbage, with your carrots, and say you are competing. No, you are competing in technology. You are competing to have more of Zoom meetings very early in the morning, like we are having now. Now, coming back to the current landscape of media or digital rights in Uganda, we recognize that social media or digital rights have transformed our audience. That's the first thing. Engaging with the information authorities, institutions, and traditional powers in Uganda, but participation is yet to give a way to contestation of dominant narrative and interest in power and structures. You need to understand that, just like how my comrade Betty said, this issue of digital rights have helped us a lot, that we can now network, that we can now build the consortiums, that we can now do research, more of research, that we can now build synergies and be together cohesively, mostly in this pandemic era where people are now restricted to meet. In Uganda, my comrades, these are the statistics to express to you and explain to you how far the digital rights has moved, and is it worth a journey or is it lacking? As of 2021, my senior comrades, the report explained to us that we had 12.16 million internet users in Uganda by 2021. The number of internet users in Uganda grew by 1.5 between 2020 and 2021. Internet penetration in Uganda stood at 26.2% in 2021. There were 3.4 million social media users in Uganda in January 2021. The number of social media users in Uganda increased by 900,000 above the age of 30 between 2020 and 2021. These are the latest statistics. I think we don't have any other more statistics because we are in 2022. It is only 1 year past from the time of its publication. Now, is it working? Yes, we might be having them, these statistics all over, but what is the output of us being on the media, of us being actually now speaking the issue of digital right? Yes, those ones who have used the language of Twitter very social media or digital rights have those ones who have not used it well also have a successful story. What are these successful stories? My comrades, the successful stories includes one, that now people are able to understand our language. People are able to understand us, what we speak, what we want. If it means about confrontational advocacy, lobbying, etc. Yes, we have excelled. We see every morning you see it on Twitter, you see it on the media, Facebook, you see it on Twitter, and people are now, they have achieved. I, for one, amplify and change communities and have been identified as good media influencers. However, on the sad note, too much consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health. What do I mean? So on the thing, social media or digital rights, just thinking the concept digital rights, notwithstanding what does the concept and go into in its depth, the issue of digital rights. For them, like you say, hate messaging, we've also seen the issue of hate messaging. We've seen one of the comrades now is out of the country on exile. I will not mention his name, but he's an author. So something like that. So these are the challenges. Yes, the current landscape allows us, with fairness, allows us to use the social media, but of course it is curtailed to some degree of the sense that it also moves systematically in the political arena. So there is a very big mixture. There is what we call the paradox of digital rights in Uganda versus the political economic structures or the political structural setup of our country. So the two are conflicting, where you see that the media is coming up or digital rights is coming up in big number to amplify, to speak to youth, to speak to younger generation, of course. I
want to cut you. There without preempting other parts of your discussion. You've mentioned something to do with the Vision 2040, which cuts into the industrial revolution, essentially using ICT for development, using ICT to better society, to reach the development goals, name it. At this juncture, I would like to bring in Betty from where you work. It's interesting. You told us that these days communication is very easy. A message can go so fast. You don't need to struggle like we used to struggle with traditional medium of writing memos, of making announcements, notice boards. Right now, information travels so fast. From where you are and where you stand in your organization, give us some of those success stories when it comes to utilizing digital rights, when it comes to utilizing digital spaces for your work, also for advocacy that you told us you're doing. Share with us some of your, part of your experience. Betty dropped off. Okay, now we are going to seem to have this conversation too. Ibrahim and I seem we are going to have this conversation, the two of us. You talked about dominant narratives, yeah, Ibrahim, in your conversation, and from what I derive is that there is use of media for people to control what information others receive, okay, what information others share, and what information others essentially impart. And it seems that there is a constant struggle between forces, powerful forces, to have their information, their view, their narrative dominating the others. You talked about the use of media to impart dominant views, it seems powerful forces are one using media to determine or to shape what others receive, what others perceive, and what others also get in the long run to insert, the kind of information to insert or impose, on people. Where do you think this contestation between dominant views, dominant use of media, dominant perceptions, dominant narratives, this constant conflict that with the mighty powers, in the digital spaces, where do you think this leaves democracy? Where does this leave democracy? Where does this leave good governance? Where does this leave the rights of most people to receive information and to also freely speak, if already we are having forces that are determining what should be said and what should not be said? Where does this leave democracy? Where does this leave the rights?
First of all, it is a very good question. To begin with, the indicators of good governance includes accountability, includes answerability, includes constitutionalism, rule of law, includes communication, and etc. For us to answer the issue of to get the issue of accountability and answerability, we need to communicate. And we should get this from the duty bearers who are, for instance, in charge of the governance of our country, including His Worship, the Mayor, who is on this platform right now. Secondly, is that the issue of digital rights or social media, it's view. Initially, it wasn't there. It had not catched up, spiced up, but the moment our democracy started growing, that cuts from 2016 elections until now, we have seen more of participation from the government side, as far as trying to now monitor and pick interest in what goes around in the media outlets. This is because, one, like I said prior before, social media has now been identified as the amplifying change voices of the youth, mostly who are dominant in the population breakdown of this country and world over. Youth are the majority users of social media. So there is a very, very big line and similarity between what goes around on social media and what is played in the political corridors of power. Social media speaks volumes, or media in generality, which includes the radio, the TV, the what. It brings people together. It has got influencers. So, as of now in this country, Uganda, the current structure, political structure of this country, of course, the mannerism in which it was established, it does not warrant free media expression. Yes, like I said, my senior comrade, too much consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health. So if you go and express more of what is in your heart, what is in your heart, we've seen many
Dr. Stella Nyanzi, the Kankwenza, etc. People are in jail, people are in court, people are before court over the same issue of social media. Not because they said we are going to capture power, no, but because they were speaking volumes and also trying to probe the issue of accountability, answerability, and also getting closer to issues of political setup. So our people in government, my dear comrades, first of all, they fear communication. Secondly, they fear accountability and answerability. So in trying to curtail, in trying to put a red line, yes, in trying to put a red line in between the two, accounting to us, but also seeking more of the information from them, they try to censor, they try to squeeze the ribs of the media, and that is why for us speaking on social media, even on Facebook, we still use VPN, and yet in the Vision 2040, we talked about embracing the ICT technology for us to achieve more of what we expect, what the government projected. But surprisingly, we are on VPN. Surprisingly, we have these political dominators who wake up one morning and try to tell us that media or Facebook is not a big deal for us. After all, we were there when the media was not there. For us, when we came into power, there was no Facebook, there was no social media, there was no Twitter. So, gone are those days. But if we are still having such kind of tendencies where people now wake up and say, who are by the way supposed to embrace, and who by the way identified social media, I mean ICT, as a bottleneck and also as a driver to achieving Vision 2040. But again, say, I have now closed down internet. Because for us, I'm sorry to say so, but equating it for us in any RS style, we did not have this. So this is where there is a very big disconnection between what is working and what is not working, what is real and what is ideal. Idealistically, we need to have it. It is enshrined in the international laws. The SDG talks about it. It is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Article 29. We have the UCC Communication Act. We have ETC, the policy legal frameworks are there. The technology, the world is advancing, transiting into it. But for us, we are still thinking anti-clockwise, not for our own making, but because you are trying to probe issues of concern. You are trying to talk about something, like for instance, right now, not someone said, I have directed the police to investigate whoever said they.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Magomu. Yes. Okay, Betty, I had posed a question to you before the microphone was passed over to Ibrahim. In your spaces, in advocacy, how are you using media to effectively do your advocacy? And then two, what do you think of these limitations that Ibrahim has talked about, the limitations on media, the limitations on digital spaces? For example, Facebook in Uganda is still blocked, at least officially it is still blocked. The state keeps on coming for people who use media such as Twitter, Facebook, again, and other media state keeps on coming for them, where the state feels that what they are sharing or what they are using their media for is illegal or is criminal. The state keeps on coming for them. Where does this leave people like you who are in advocacy and who maybe many times use media for your work?
So about the limitations brought by government and the coverage, because in Eastern Uganda, there are some places whereby the networks are not favorable, like people can't access internet the moment you're out of town, like definitely you don't have. Then when it comes to the limitations, right from that time, actually this I think towards the election period, whereby government cut off most social media accounts that we have to use VPN. In my sector, like the business sector, whereby like we use the internet to do the advertising, all that kind of stuff. Since the internet is not fully open, it has really affected us so much that even our clients, some who don't have VPN, like they can't pay the OTT. So basically, like it has affected our sales. Previously, we used to advertise, do the marketing of our product online, which is not the case for now, because like a lot of things come in when you then by virtue of our sector, we are not free to like talk about our political ideologies, because like the moment you say it will have an impact on your business from the security side, you get like it will have an impact directly or indirectly. You'll find something's coming up even where it is not necessary. So I think the government is offering positions or ideologies that they can choose to support whoever they want. But the moment you go that way, just know your business is going to be affected.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Nagudi, for that insight. And from a business side, Sania says the blocking of Facebook limited them so much, limited their sales because they were contacting their clients through Facebook. They were advertising through Facebook. So it has continued to limit the enjoyment of their economic rights. You see, that is what makes even rights very interesting. We are discussing digital rights, but anything that affects digital rights has a ripple effect and actually an adverse effect also on the other rights. And that is the principle we call the principle of indivisibility of rights. The right to information, the right to media is directly connected to economic rights, the right for others to exercise their professions, but also to run business, the right to associate, the right to act. Now, because she cannot fully exercise her economic rights, that means also her livelihood is affected, and that goes to the right to life, which also includes the right to livelihood. So you see, people who think they are limiting just the freedom of speech because they're uncomfortable with what people are saying, or they think people are using media to downplay government, do what? They're essentially limiting also other rights. And it seems it is going back to the root of the right to life also. So it's important that these rights are let to be, so that people fully meaningfully contribute to the economic development of this country, but also to their own development as people. There is a quote somewhere I read that the solution to abuse of rights or irresponsible use of rights is not limiting the rights. The solution is more rights. If you feel people are spreading false news by using their freedom of media or in their digital spaces, the solution is not to block. The solution is to increase the rights so that more people see the truth, so that the light is cast on their lies and their falsities. So the solution is more rights. The solution is opening up more spaces. The solution is letting people fully reach their potential by utilizing these rights. In there, people will be more educated, people will be more sober, and the market or the people will be able to distinguish between falsehoods and what is right. I am seeing Betty, you have raised your hand. Please say something.
Thank you, moderator. I'm perturbed with the connection, but I have really been, as well as we went off when you're asking me my question, I just want to appreciate the deliberations you're making in there, and really, indeed, appreciate that you're doing a great work of elaborating this listening outside there. I want to give on the social media. I supplement on what my colleague Sania said. We are using different platforms like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and other media outlets that we have. And as in regard to what my comrade Ibrahim discussed on about the government on the limitation to cope up with the digital rights, I really want to totally disagree with my comrade, because like as he said, in regard to ICT regulations, whereby by 2040, we believe that everybody should be in the digital world. I think to us, we should really appreciate the fact that the government of Uganda has some other limitations that it has infringed on the digital media. But we should appreciate them that at least they've given us the authority, the power to use them. It is we, the Ugandans ourselves, who are using it wrongly. And then in turn, we abuse the government for the disconnections. So I really want to argue to us that we should appreciate our government, that it has given us rights, much as there are other effects. But indeed, we are looking forward to see that in the future, by 2060, actually 20 free world, where we communicate to lobby using the digital platform in the right way. I also agree with him somewhere, somehow, that it harms on the effects of, to bring some risks on our health. So you find that someone is on the media throughout the whole day, busy doing nothing but infiltrating on people's accounts, doing cyber hibernation, to hacking into people's accounts. Now, when somebody is doing that, why not the government to close you up? So let's watch our rights being given out to us and use them diligently as entrusted onto us. I cite an example. Yesterday, I was on a different platform whereby somebody posted from Kapchora about something which is not, he posted on something which is not good, and he was arrested and is behind those as I'm speaking right now. Someone is posting is the excellence, drinking, taking boot, taking cooking oil. Is that normal? Does that person has sense in it? So I urge us to have sense and appreciate the rights that are entrusted onto us, because when we use them correctly, we shall find that we shall have things moving in a smooth way, and we shall have to lead a developed country by 2020. I beg to submit. Thank you.
It's interesting. I have many questions to ask you, Betty. You've raised a number of things that are quite fascinating. But I'll allow maybe one of your colleagues to respond to you. Anyone who would like to respond to Betty, please unmute and respond.
Yeah, my comrade. It's quite interesting, like you said, to have these health, developmental, digital rights discussions early this morning. And it now brings in my senior comrade, Betty. But before that, I want to correct it, remind him that when I was making my submission, government has done two double-edged sword. In reality, in ID rights in Uganda, how should social media users be like? What are those elements? What are those leveled grounds for social media to thrive? For us to now say that we have digital rights in Uganda. Those are the components which in my submission I talked about. Then the reality, what are we seeing in Uganda? In reality, we are not talking about quantity. We are also talking about the qualitativeness part of it. That yes, the government says the Vision 24 is anchored into ICT, identified ICT as a bottleneck because it had not previously embraced it, but it identified it and said, now if we are to prosper and achieve Vision 2030, Vision 2040, middle income status, middle income economy, where now my senior comrade Betty will annually be earning like 100 million depending on the type of job she's doing, where the lowest income earner, those ones who are being tagged the vulnerable, who are in the vulnerable economy, can now monthly pocket 1 million or 2 million. But it was anchored in ICT. But now, yes, it was anchored in ICT, but what is the reality? What are we seeing? First of all, when did the Facebook, or when was internet shutdown first emerged in Uganda? Was Was it in 2008 or it was in 2016? In the hiccup. So these are the issues. I want the censorship on what goes 99%, which cuts across just a political ideology, what someone feels about it, what he thinks should be done. The issue of answerability, accountability, communication has been dominating these social media and this is where we go wrong. I want my senior being a right person. I wanted her stand that the should not, which you should not plead to government to give you. Like for instance, Article 29 of the Constitution, which now gives birth to what we are talking about. These are the rights we are talking about, my senior comrade. That these rights government, we should not plead to government. However, I also say that too much consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health. You should also not use these very rights because you say, I have a right to talk. Now I should also abuse A, B, C. No. So therefore, for me, the limitations are still there. And for as long as my senior comrade, I don't know which party she belongs in or she's attached to, for as long as she continues shielding, wearing a woolen blanket in a desert. These are the issues. We need to speak basic things. We need to speak reality. We need to come up and address even the virgin ones. We unaddress them. So therefore, what is my take home? My take home is that for us to achieve this, one, the government should now understand that the world is transiting. If it denies that Uganda is not part of the world, yes, it will be captured by other events. It will be captured by social media influencers from outside other. Uganda is part of this dynamic, young and dynamic. They have embraced technology day in, day out. Therefore, if you fail to embrace change, change will force you to change. We are not going to be in the same crying moments that, oh, you know. No, we should now wake up. She talked of her business being slowed down by Facebook, the shutdown. These are the very things we are talking about. Yes, Facebook has promoted many small SMT business, small scale businesses. Mostly we, the youth who don't have money to rent, to rent millions of places or stores in town. We only use Facebook to amplify, to get for customers. So my senior comrade Betty, I want you to understand that you should not, if you try to wear or cover yourself a blanket or promote a blanket, a woolen blanket in a desert, these are the likelihoods you are going to suffer. You resistance, you will total resistance from those ones who don't want that woolen blanket in that desert. Second, my comrades, are we using social media only to promote political ideologies, or we are also using social media to get to know the generality of what social media gives us? Like, for instance, issues of health, for instance, issues of networking, for instance, issues of business, etc. So these are the issues, my friend. Yes, I've never been summoned to any police or any security issue for blocking or misusing social media. However, there are certainly things where government goes extra mile and you really wonder why. Why would you wake up one morning and shut down the internet only because of a political ideology? Yet you want your views to be, and you are the very person, you are the very entity which says we need to embrace media for us to achieve more. I talked much earlier that for us to achieve and realize this vision, government also admits and acknowledges that social media should be embraced, technology should be embraced, and it made a commitment that by a certain time, over 2017, I think we've even passed 2017, the back then Minister of ICT, Frank Tumwebaze, launched a government e-system whereby he said that now by 2017, we should have free wireless. I'm yet to receive my wireless internet. I'm yet to receive it, and I would be happy to receive and use it, and it would demonstrate that indeed the country is embracing the IT technology and that we are in a world where we can now compete. Allow me tell you that if we mix politics versus development, we are going to continue talking more of the same. I want us to have another discussion, which now is kind of different, which is now as a result of what we have had today. Because right now we are talking about the landscape of digital rights in Uganda. Tomorrow now we want to have a discussion of what was the result of what we had yesterday. We should not continue to speak about the challenges. Now we should also now talk about the solutions. That now we had challenges yesterday. Now tomorrow we are talking about solutions.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Yes, you've raised a number of issues, and you've also put to rest some serious concerns that Betty raised. Sania, please, the floor is yours.
Whatever is happening in the country, like, you're definitely aware of it. So I see no reason why we should look upon using just when they say a drop in an ocean. When the one person has into another person's account, then you claim you should shut down. Why should we be like Jesus to others, or why should we suffer at the expense of other people? So if someone else is done the whole country suffer because the cyber war, no. Like, basically, let those who have committed the crime be implicated. Then those who have not, let us enjoy the rights, let us enjoy the freedom of speech, let us post whatever we like, what we feel is going wrong in the country. But the moment you complain about something, definitely the security threats, like your whole family, you begin receiving calls, blah blah blah. You committed this, posted this. So at the high time we embraced the freedom of expression. Let us enjoy that right, like you say. Then this business of looking after the journalists when something is going on that the journalists are allowed, then when they're allowed, then they have to edit. If something wrong has happened, they have to edit the video so that they see the favor of a particular group who believe in a different ideology than the other. Just because they don't want to be misquoted, it's wrong. I don't think that is right. If something has happened, let the media report everything and let them show it to the public. Like, they know what exactly has happened, and not to first edit, like, okay, now you can show this. This business of harassing journalists, you're not supposed to capture this, you're not supposed to capture this. I think it should stop. We are painting a bad image of Uganda outside. Like, they look at us like, really, what went wrong in Uganda? Thanks, I
Thank you very much, Nagudi, for that. She says that if really government has issues with some people, let them go for the individuals, not to just blanketly close, for example, Facebook and other media, But also she's, she's concerned that, some journalists keep on being harassed because of their work, and mainly in the digital spaces. And these were all responding to you, Betty, for, because of what you said it. And it also, Ibrahim has also made some comments in the comment section, and he says, government is not doing anyone a favor by leaving media on, or social media, or by leaving the internet to be accessible. And I want to add also to that, rights are not given. Okay, you say, Betty, it's like you're saying government should give us. No. Human rights are not given by the state. Human rights are entitlements that accrue to persons, to people, by the mere virtue of them being human. What governments do is that the government or the state is supposed to protect those rights. Otherwise, government is not the one that gives the right to speech, or the right to life, or the right to human dignity, economic rights. No. Those are rights that you're entitled to by the mere virtue that you're a human being. What the state does is to protect those rights, to guarantee you those rights, okay? So the state is supposed to ensure that there is access to the internet. The state is supposed to ensure that people have freedom of media, without any hindrance, name it. So, but also, to say we are using media wrongly is a bit a disservice to most people like Nagudi, who are using media for business, who are using media to communicate. People who are using media to communicate with their clients, to educate people. In fact, the same government that says media, or that complains about media, is using media to disseminate their information. Their government ministries continue using Facebook, that is closed in this country. They use other platforms for information, and it seems to be very effective for them. Okay, so it's not that we're using media. Some people could use it wrongly, but that does not take away the bigger benefits of this right. But also in democracies, in a political and that is supposed to be free, in democratic society, there are things that come with it. Every right can be interpreted differently. And mainly the right to freedom of expression and freedom of speech is one where it's not only going to be comfortable. So to say wrongly, maybe you refer to an example that someone used media wrongly to refer to the president of this country to, in a way that is not comfortable. Freedom of expression is not there to only make someone comfortable, no. Or freedom of media is not, it's not just to be comfortable. No. Media includes even those things that can be said that are not comfortable. It also includes insults. So if every time you're going to feel offended because someone has drawn a cartoon of you, you close, then we are never going to have any progress. If every time you feel angered, you arrest someone because they said something on WhatsApp, where will this country be? So there will never be any enjoyment of rights. But you had a response to what many of us have said, and please feel free to respond. Then after that,
thank you.
You respond, then you give your closing remarks, and then I will go back to Ibrahim and then Nagudi to give closing statements.
Yeah, dear. Ibra, much as we are advocating for these rights here. I want to urge you, the viewers and listeners who are on this platform, that people should know how to use their rights correctly. To me, as a human advocate, I wouldn't like people to go in misusing their rights and then blaming the authorities. Let the government, let the authorities do their part of protection, and we also do the right thing.
I want to cut you there, Betty. Betty, what do you mean by correctly?
Using the media in the rightful way.
E.g., for example?
For example, there is no need for someone to post, like these people who do all pornography, and cyber hallucinations, and when you're doing such things and then you're infringing in people's rights and you expect someone to be happy of that, I can't really love to see people in such a world.
Okay. We agree that there are people who use, of course, media wrongly, like promoting child pornography, maybe cyber stalking and cyber harassment, cyber bullying, which is wrong, However, where people are putting politicians to accountability, or making mockery of politicians and leaders and putting them to strict scrutiny to ensure accountability and answerability, like Ibrahim put it, I would think, Betty, there we agree, right? That people should continue using the media to promote answerability and accountability from government, right?
Yes, that one. Yes, please.
And they should not be imprisoned or tortured just because they criticize public officials.
No, that is why I'm saying that the government should take its course. Let the law take. By disciplining them, they should be disciplined. If you do the right thing, you're supposed.
Okay, thank you very much, Betty.
Get this discipline. So they cause the effect to a network down. So you find that they should limit it to those criminals. I would suggest that if someone is being caught in not using the right network, let them block that very person alone, but not like maybe sometimes now you find that we are now in the meeting and then the network is shut down. It causes an effect.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. But also government and the state should be in position to shield, to have thick skin. Not every time something media is happening.
So just as there is no way one can that the authorities. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Thank you very much, Betty. It seems the network was disturbing, but I was saying that it's government and people in government should develop thick skin, but also they shouldn't turn themselves into moral police. So if someone says something that is a bit offensive to you as an individual in government or what, I think it's okay to let it go because these rights are not necessarily supposed to make people so comfortable. No. Okay, so they can leave. Government shouldn't turn into the moral police of social media or the patrol of social media, because that would be essentially to misuse even our resources as taxpayers to pursue personal aggrandizements. Thank you very much, Betty. Let us have Ibrahim's concluding remarks, and we proceed to. Then we shall proceed to Sania.
Thank you so much, CCG, for such an early morning intriguing debate this afternoon. Is going to be the best for me. And to me, I also want to thank my senior comrades who have participated
The way forward. Give us the way forward.
The way forward here is that one, as younger activists, as younger people in the struggle, we should embrace the culture of social media. We should also recognize that digital rights helps us to achieve more of even the unknown. We should also thank and welcome every opportunity like what CCG brought for us early this morning. These engagements are healthy. They are good. We debate more. They help us build synergies, consortiums, and even unlock our minds so that we stop thinking like yesterday. On the part of government, it is high time for government now to realize that the world is global. The world is advancing in technology. The world is not in rudimentary, it is not in those 3 stages of development, traditional stages of development. The world has grown, and when the world is growing, you see it by social media, you see it by technology, you see that every morning like this, I can have a video conference with my comrades from Kampala, CCG, and my Betty from wherever she is, and Sania, etc. So these are the things we embrace, and these are the things we need. And we need more of the same. The statistics tells us, but also the statistics needs to be qualitative, that what we use on social media can be used to advocate and win, lobby, and achieve all cause development. To those who use social media in an anti-clockwise way, like what now my Betty says, yes, there is something for something. If you find yourself in the middle of the wrong side of the law, yes, the law will come and take you off. So for me, I will not want to romance anyone. If you are indeed, you're a lawyer, you introduced to us by saying a lawyer. And for me, they say that it is better to be on the good side of a bad law than being on the bad side of a bad law. So even if the law is bad, for us, we are trying to, even if the laws, the practice of the laws here are bad, for us, we have tried to be on the good side of it. That is why we post careful. For me, before I post, I first look through the articles, acts, and so to get myself with a defensive cover that what I've posted does not warrant or infringe on someone's right, maybe even Betty's right. So for me, I'm a person who wants advocacy or lobbying, human rights defender, but also lobbying the government to enshrine and also promote the issue of digital rights as it committed itself in Vision 2040, which we should now achieve not by government alone, but by me because I'm a taxpayer. My friend, before I close down, Article 1, Clause 4 of the Constitution states that elected leaders derive their power, authority, and mandate from the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which Constitution also derives its mandate from the people, meaning that we get because Uganda is a big population of 46 million, but all of us cannot be in the governance structure. So what do? We get our power, we borrow, or we lend to the Constitution, which Constitution now gives it to, lends it to those ones, the duty bearers. Those ones now work for us. So it is bad for us to not ask even the bad questions. But because if you don't ask the bad questions, you will not get, the answer. Sometimes we do this work, we do this thing of grapevine information to toast an iceberg to see the responsiveness of the government to get us the really things what it is cooking in its chicken. But if we continue saying, hey, they have done good,
thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you.
These are the things which we should also, all of us, including those ones who believe social media is bad, should embrace. Thank you, and thank you for everyone.
Thank you very much. Sania?
Thank you, Alex, and the other panelists. In conclusion about this topic, one, I urge government to request to fully open the social media so that like we are free to use it. Like for us in the sector, we are really being affected. Our are being affected. Like say, hey, I'm looking for recommendations where I can get this. So we get different suppliers. You know, if you have very many, so basically you can run around, you can play around with the economies of scale. But if you're limited, if the suppliers are few, definitely they will have to hike the prices because it's fully open here so that you can use it. Then for the wrong people, they should be implicated. Like I see no reason why you should suffer at the expense of the others. Why should us the good one suffer because those few bad ones who use social media, like they are, I don't know, should I call it ignorance or their bad behavior should not be an inconvenience to us who are utilizing it for a good cause that is of benefit to the country, that helps provide a lot, because definitely as a company we have the social media, people who run the social media, who play. So this guy is not reason us to have the social media, and yet it's not fully open. Who is going to? Then, yeah, I think that is all. Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for this platform. I really urge because sometimes our social media has helped us to cut on the costs for say advertising that we used to maybe post like the media, like television, the radio station, for us. Because we feel that there are so many people who are on social media, who are on Facebook, that we get millions of Ugandans, like you can go and they really know, okay, like you're trying to do that for advertising. It is kind of cheaper to us, especially the small scale enterprises. So they're using the television, because if you're to use the television station to advertise, you know how expensive it is. So I don't fully open so that we can utilize that and we cut on our cost of operation in the long run. That will cut on the prices, because if our costs of operation are higher, definitely we are going to hike the prices too for our products.
Thank you.
In the end, customers will share now.
Thank you very much, Nagudi and Sania. Thank you very much, Ibrahim Magomu. Thank you very much, Betty Mutama Mudua, for your contribution to this space. Thank you very much, everyone who has contributed to this, who has been part of this space. For those ones whose network has disturbed them, better luck next time. We shall continue these discussions on digital rights, on digital spaces. So thank you very much, colleagues. It has been a pleasure hosting you. We should continue increasing more awareness on these digital rights. We should have more of rights and less of limitations. The international standards are more rights, less limitations, okay? The limitations have to be very less, and even the limitations should be in favor of the right. Okay, thank you very much. And I've been your host, Alex Martin Musiime, on behalf of the hosts who are Center for Constitutional Governance, the conveners of this space. We thank you and may God bless you.